Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this late Wednesday night. The Washington Post has discovered a dangerous link between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We're gonna find out the dark secret of what they both have in common, and we're gonna find out that it gets even worse than what the media is willing to admit. You're not gonna want to miss this. Many of you may have seen the recent tweet by Elon Musk of his bedside table. It was a fascinating photo for sure. On the table were 4 cans of caffeine-free Diet Coke, alongside what appears to be 2 replica guns and the famous painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River. There are also a couple of books on the corner, one which appears to be Washington's Rules of Civility. And also, interestingly enough, a Buddhist amulet known as the Vidra. George. Now, of course, there were a number of articles written about Musk's bedside table, mostly just descriptive of what was their sort of an interesting piece. But when it came to the Washington Post, which lives by their own self-owning motto, democracy dies in darkness, they took this infatuation to a whole new level. If you can believe it, the Washington Post actually dedicated an entire article, one kid you not, on the branding power that Diet Coke has on megalomaniacs like Elon Musk, and of course none other than Donald Trump. Gang. This is not a simulation. This is not a Saturday Night Live skit back when they were actually funny. This is really happening. This article actually passes itself off in the woke neo-Marxist world of leftist liberalism as legitimate journalism. Here's a sample of what the article had to say. Quote, in 2018, The New Yorker stuck a fork in the Diet Coke phenomenon, citing his evidence, its unsavory acolytes, including former President Donald Trump and Harvey Weinstein. It is the magazine declared. The elixir of soft-body plutocrats desperate to shed their shady paths and possibly a few bones. Musk has previously proclaimed his love for the beverage. Quote, Diet Coke is amazing, especially the soda fountain version at movie theaters with salt and butter popcorn, he tweeted out in June, following up by saying he doesn't care if it, quote, lowers my life expectancy. And in April he tweeted this plan to restore the drink's original formula. And in 2007 interview with Inc. magazine, I can't believe I'm reading this. Musk has said that at one point he was downing 8 cans of Diet Coke a day along with several large coffees, a regimen he ultimately had to cut back. Trump reportedly drank as many as 12 cans a day, and he was said to have used the coal button on the Resolute desk in the Oval Office primarily as a means of summoning a fresh class. That's right. Bring me my Pluto traffic elixir or IVR head. Now, gang. Wait until you see how the Twitterverse absolutely roasted the Washington Post. Could absolutely make your day. Here's one of my favorite reactions to the Washington Post piece. Ralph Wiggum. From The Simpsons. I love journalism. That's right. Yeah, that's what you were, Ralphie, that's what you were, waiting to journalism. Washington Post correct. Another tweet read, I'm so sorry. Your life has come to this. Another reads, your boss is still really mad about coming in second in the space race, isn't it? That's referring to Jeff Bezos, who's also the owner of Amazon, of Washington Post in Amazon, and my personal favorite, Hunter Biden's bedside, and a bunch of Coke as well. Yeah, that's for sure. Interesting. We didn't get any articles on the significance of that. And the reason for that is obvious. What the silly excuse for journalism demonstrates is the tireless media fixation on their incessant attempt at marginalizing the populist right. It's an attempted marginalization that we're seeing, quite frankly, all over the world, like we're seeing currently in Brazil. Do you know what's going on there? They're experiencing what some are calling the single biggest protests in the history of any democratic nation. Tens of millions of people swarmed the streets of Brazil in almost non-stop protests over the past month, protesting the corruption of their last presidential election. Have you heard anything about that late from our lamestream media? Of course not. Because it's not important. And it's not important because it involves supporters of the so-called far right? Cheerio. Bolsonaro. It's the same marginalization, the populist right, we see constantly throughout Western Europe and in the EU. The bullies in Brussels were genuine concerns about what protests was consider insane COVID policies, as well as NATO brazenly bringing us to the brink of nuclear Armageddon, are all dismissed nothing more than the concerns of misinformed conspiracy nuts. Same thing in Trudeau's Canada, where we're told that the Freedom Convoy was made up of a, quote, fringe minority, who held to quote unacceptable views. Funny didn't say that about BLM even when they were out protesting in the open during the pandemic. Of course, the powers that be consistently recast any and all concerns that populist patriots have as anti-democratic, conspiracy-driven, intolerant, racist, xenophobic, misogynist, on the demonizing effort to exclude such concerns from serious consideration in the public square. But this, I gotta tell you, this attempt to try to marginalize and disenfranchise Elon Musk and Donald Trump with a neo-Marxist deconstruction of Diet Coke, even invoking the likes of Harvey Weinstein. This just goes to show how utterly and desperately straw-grasping these left-wing activists disguised as journalists really have become. The populist revolt against the permanent political class is growing more and more every single day. There is simply nothing they can do to stop it. And with articles like this, it just makes that revolt all the more sweet. And this is the Hill Schiff knocks McCarthy's vow of removal from Intelligence Committee. CNN Schiff responds to McCarthy's vow to remove him from committee. Fox News McCarthy vows to remove Swalwell Schiff and others from House committees. NBC News, Democrats slam Kevin McCarthy over his vow to remove them from committees. It's all over now. Adam Schiff will no longer be part of the House Intel Committee. What took place was Twitter had become a vector for information that misinforms. Yes, the nightmare of Democrats, it already existed. And it existed because you had people within, we can say, the intelligence, the wonderful intelligence community, who came to the conclusion that Trump was a Kremlin operative or that he could have been. And then you had Adam Schiff running investigations based on pure suspicion and nothing more. There was never a reason to investigate Trump, never. He never worked with, nor was there any evidence in the tens of billions of dollars we spent in terms of intelligence that he was compromised. You had a high to moderate confidence assessment by James Clapper and others. This was an assessment. This is like me saying that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. That's my assessment. And my assessment is unconfirmed by the Republican Senate Intel Committee, with Richard Burr the Republican confirming an assessment. Oh, well, he confirmed. Okay. He confirmed my viewpoint that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. They never guaranteed anything. When John Brennan was asked, as you have evidence, he goes, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. Hit subscribe to this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, right now share this everywhere. This is huge. The pendulum has already shifted towards Trump Republicans. Trump Republicans run the House of Representatives that are going to investigate Hunter, impeach Joe on potential felonies. Graft is a serious crime. It's not just all he pressured somebody into looking into his political rival, as Democrats investigated Trump endlessly everywhere, and took information apparently from foreign intel against Trump. That's how this all was started. If you read The Guardian, and other publications, they were given a tip by the UK and others, that Trump could have been compromised. So we had to investigate. And we needed Adam Schiff to tell us, so he was constantly in the news, always wrong about everything. Oh, he has evidence circumstantial, but he has something somewhere in between direct and circumstantial, and oh, my God. And the Red Scare McCarthy era was started by people within the Democratic Party, especially Congressman Schiff. And before that he was defending Hillary Clinton's use of private servers, siphoning classified data outside of the United States government, top secret intel outside of the United States government. That's according to James Comey. So like all the corruption, from Hunter to private servers to all of that, that's viewed as conspiratorial nonsense by Democrats because they're ignorant. They don't know what their political side is capable of or gets away with. Okay, Trump did not commit a crime. That's why when they investigate him in Georgia, and they investigate Trump in New York, when they investigate trouble the federal government with the Mueller probe now with this new special counsel, they didn't find anything. They're not going to find anything because he didn't commit a crime. Okay, that's the reason they are investigating, to find something that they doubt drop. Adam Schiff was the most vocal, influential Democrat. House Intel Committee was very, very important. And it was very important in relaying information from the intel community to the press and media, and to basically the DOJ as well. And so, what he was able to do was serve as an intermediary, a conduit, a spokesman for the intelligence community. Now you will have loyalists, I should say, of the Democratic Party within those agencies. So any accusation against Trump, like this whole thing with Mar-a-Lago, was started by a Democrat. I'm not sure if it was in the House Intel by a Democrat, who wrote to the National Archives. The National Archives wasn't gonna go straight to the Federal Bureau of Investigation or Department of Justice. But a Democrat said, well, Trump, he's mishandling classified data, so terrible, terrible, and then it became a big deal. But they didn't get them on mishandling classified data. They could have gotten Clinton, but Hillary was saved by Comey, and then Comey, because it was such a botched investigation a week before, found more classified data floating around. Then he wrote the Comey letter. But the Comey letter also was basically, hey, you know what? I have the goods on you. So when you become president, better not fire me. Trump comes in, fires Comey. Then everything, just the entire political system goes bonkers. Because the notion was, oh, well, Comey is investigating Trump, and he's getting fired. And so, oh, my God, this is the rule of law. The rule of law is nothing to do with people who are unelected, accusing incoming candidates of being compromised by another country. You could investigate every single president, Democrat and Republican, based on that absurd allegation. You need evidence. Now, we don't even know how much money, but it was about $30 billion between the three agencies that said that, according to Schiff, Trump was compromised or worked with the Kremlin. $30 billion, and you couldn't find evidence of money flow, emails, contacts that Trump had within intelligence agencies. Nothing but a dossier that was literally fabricated. So that vector of information, you have this, this research in this Ivy League school found that, without the moderation team of all liberal Democrats who want to take down Trump, Twitter will become a source of information that misinforms. And so the Steele dossier was celebrated. The actual journalism that pointed to Hunter's crimes, not the New York Post, was suspended. Twitter, along with Congressman Schiff, along with the loyalists within the U.S. intelligence community and others, went after Trump. And in the midst of the information that misinforms the information that is not true, Democrats believe as gospel. Trump compelled people in January with his tweets. Well, then why wasn't he indicted? Oh, well, no. They make statements leaps of logic. That's why Kanye West Ye. That's why Ye is gaining traction with his leaps of logic. We live in a country, in a world now where you can make a leap of logic based solely on emotion. That's why Jada Sham had to refute AOC's distorted historical revisionism. But when you live like Adam Schiff, he didn't understand it, but he paved the way for Kanye West. He doesn't. Democrats don't see this because they make so many absurd leaps of logic. And they say Trump's words cause bigotry. That's an absurd leap of logic. But when they've cried wolf so often, pertaining to, bigoted statements, that now when you have Kanye West, saying something, that's an absurd leap of logic. Now, it's okay, wait, society has to actually explain this is why it makes no sense. It's irrational. It's counterbrand. Explain that in 2 segments prior to this one. You start off by confusing and manipulating the emotions of Democrats who were scorned and lost and wanted some reason to believe why they lost. The entire American political system was pummeled by Trump in 2016. Everybody thought that he would lose. I said that, and I wrote in The Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, that Trump would defeat Clinton, and on this channel, and when that happened, you had people like Congressman Schiff manipulate, lie, and basically tell the world that he had evidence that Trump was working with another country. The opposite was true. He had no evidence. Now he's being removed. He won't have that power influence anymore because of Kevin McCarthy. Give me your thoughts below. I mean, Kevin McCarthy will eventually become the Speaker of the House, but there's a question mark now. It could be somebody else. Stay tuned. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching.